Hey YouTube, today's video I'd like to touch on some small upgrades and minor adjustments that I have done to my Stamsorc build. It is still a 1 bar open soul build. Now recently, actually for the last two patches, PvP has really not been the best for me. Partially because my latency has jumped to 380 plus. As if you have watched my previous videos, I would have lamented and complained a great deal about this. But in recent times, in today's patch itself, as you can see, it has gone significantly down to 280, and sometimes it gets to just slightly north of 300, which is still fine, manageable. So I am back in the game again, grooving it, and this is where some of the other shortcomings of my Stamsorc build becomes a little bit obvious. I think, and this has been so for a while, that actually your burst damage is never really more important than your sustainability. And because resource sustainability isn't like the greatest strength in my previous build, so it's probably something that I would like to address and do something about it. And I think this is the case in ESO, right? Because no build is ever really perfect and the meta keeps changing. So every time you identify a flaw, you work on that, you rectify the flaw, at the same time exposing yourselves to new flaws, and then along the way, rinse and repeat, you keep changing the sets to just go on this musical chair thing. So very quickly, I like to just bring your attention back to my build. A lot of it is similar to my previous video, but I just quickly run through it just for your information, alright? So most of the stuff that I use, Orders Rough and the Agility set together with the Trainee set and Oaken Ring. These are the basic bread and butter that I use. For those people who have, like, you're on ESO Plus and everything, I highly recommend you to go and seek for currently the best crit build at the moment, which is Tarnish Nightmare. Right? It has been broken for a really long time, like for the last 2 to 3 months they've been doing incredible amount of damage, and I think it's still very relatable now, because every so once in a while in the last few days, if I fight and I lose, and there's always that glass shattering sound in the background, right? So you have the means, go and get the Tarnish Nightmare set. It's a 5-piece, and use that as your primary bread and butter for this 1 bar set. The 3-piece set would be the Agility, so I use that for the ring as well as double X, so I use dual wheel, and you can see some of the attributes that I do for here. 1-piece Trainee, okay, just to have you let you have a look, and of course Oaken Soul. The poison that I use, I basically don't want to spend too much crowns or money to get exotic poison, so I just go with the stuff that the game gives me for free, and Bewitched Sugar Skull for the food itself, right? And the main change that I actually want to make is the monster set. My previous set was actually the Belllock, which is an incredible monster piece. But it also has its shortcomings, which I am getting a little bit fed up with. For one, I always have to build my ultimate up to 500 to even have a chance to win a PvP combat one-on-one. And getting your ultimate to 500 is not something that you can have all the time. You do have the luxury of that. So what I do is to go for another simple monster set, easily accessible with without ESO Plus. You can get this as well. It's in one of the dungeons. This set itself gives me a lot of sustainability. All 3 resources, I can get it in abundance, and that means I can last longer in the battle. And as later you can see in the gameplay, once you last longer in the battle, all kinds of positive results will start to surface itself. So in order to make up for the loss of damage output, because I switched out my Belllock, right, I would then start to change my Mundus. I don't know if this is the Mundus that I proposed in the previous video, but currently I'm using the lever just to get the penetration, both spell and physical, as close as possible to 10k. Right now currently I have 9,000, so close to 10k penetration. I think it's like the optimal. Anything more than that, you may be just cooking it a little bit too much, and your resources could be best put into other areas, right? I still managed to get spell damage and weapon damage north of 6,000, which is okay. I'm a stage 3 vampire, so when I go out of sneak, I will get another additional 400, which I think will do. Like I said, right now, even if you push your spell damage to like close to 7,000, which I can easily get with Belllock, it doesn't necessarily translate to positive results in a PvP battle, because your damage output will never catch up with the amount of recovery and the sustainability that the other PvP players who are running Metal Gear right now are doing so. So it's better just to be able to stick around and last longer in a battle. So with the Engine Guardian, I will get health or magicka or stamina recovery, and it happens really fast, once every 10 seconds. And on top of that, the drone itself is hell irritating, right? It becomes sort of like a distraction, and some of your enemy attacks, your opponent attacks, may land onto the droid hitbox instead of you. Same thing as the pet. So basically, I think it will act sort of like a additional distraction to take away some of the heat that is on you. So maybe I'll just go through some of the skills in case you have not watched my previous videos. I'm a 1-bar, so I use Streak for the CC control. Crystal Frag would be my secondary spammable, and then Silver Shards would be my primary spammable. I will alternate between these two depending which resource I have more. Once one resource is running low, I will switch to the other one. The Twilight Matriarch will be like a distracting hitbox kind of thing, and also at the same time, the healing that I get from the Twilight Matriarch, in my opinion, outperforms that of the Vigor, right? So, and then the Haunting Curse, which is a very necessary 1-burst attack skill, particularly useful against the Night Blade class because they tend to go into hiding, but the Haunting Curse will expose that location. And then Dawnbreaker as well, because it does, having the weapons, the fighter's guild skill, and I have both of them, would add on to my spell damage and weapon damage. And also this is a very great one-shot kind of ultimate, and it also does sort of like a DOT on your opponent. So it's something that I haven't looked into changing. I think it works for now. I'll still stick to it. For the champion points, no change. Backstabber, Ironclad, Master at Arms, Fighting Finesse. All these skills are a balance between sustainability and damage output. Sustained by Suffering, Celerity, because speed is king, Survival Instincts, and Pain's Refuge. Same thing as well, they are mainly for sustainability and resource recovery. Okay, so I think that is all. The nitty-gritties, the meat and potatoes of my build itself. Any questions, you can hit it up in the comments below, or you can check out my previous videos which I cover in far greater detail on all the enchantments, the Manda stones that I use, so on and so forth, right? If not, I can just show you some of my gameplay. I've tested it out for the last 2 days, and once I slapped the Engine Guardian on, I have so much more positive results in all my PvP combat. So this is something that you can do. It will be good until it is not. This is the way ESO runs. Every time you switch a gear set, I don't know, the algorithm will favor you and you'll get some positive results for the 2-3 days. You'll be on a really hot streak, and then after a while it just doesn't perform as great as it did in the earlier days. We've experienced that with Mara's Balm, Plague Break, and a lot of other sets like the Tarnished Nightmare set as well, when they push everything out, right? Same thing applies for the Mythic sets. When the Gates of Cities land, it was really OP, and then they nerfed it, and then later on Oaken Soul, and then later on the Arcanist is meta, still very broken class at the current moment, in my opinion anyway. So I think in ESO it's basically just you just have to switch your stuff up once in a while. It changed the algorithm a little bit and things will be in your favor. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this video and it's informative for you. Take good care, and I see you in 10 round. Good day and goodbye.